Alright, what's going on, guys? gdoggcasey here, bringing you another StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm cast here, featuring our red Zerg player in the bottom right corner of Coda. We've seen him before. His name is Chimaera, representing Team Outset. And in the top left corner of Coda, his opponent, the blue Zerg player, representing Team Nexty. I'm probably just next. It is DrAGoOn. I butchered that so hard. I'm so sorry, man. But I mean, what can you expect when your name is filled with different characters like that? But DrAGoOn is a pretty cool name. It's actually one of my favorite classes in the Final Fantasy series, so I'm already a bit of a fan here. Chimaera, we've seen him before. He sent me this replay. This is going to be a diamond level matchup from Chimaera's perspective, but he's actually going up against a Master Zerg in DrAGoOn. So this one is probably going to be a little bit nerve-wracking for him, because that's like the... You know, when you're approaching promotion, you start to face people in the league above you, and when you first start facing those people, it starts to get a little bit nerve-wracking, because you're like, oh man, I'm getting better, and like you see that border, and you just think that automatically they're going to beat you because they're basically identified as better than you right from the start. No, that's not everybody. Maybe Chimaera is like, yeah, a Masters player, I'm going to wreck him, and we're going to have to see what happens here. As we have the blue drone scouting around here, trying to find something silly. But it's just going to be a normal pool timing coming out of Chimaera, and it looks like we're going to be seeing maybe a hatch first here coming out of DrAGoOn. That is what it's going to be, although he did send that drone just a little bit later, so he's going to force out an extra drone here. Just making this an incredibly greedy play, but with no gas going down or anything for Chimaera, there's not much you can really do about it. While we wait for things to develop in this game, guys, I just want to remind you, if you want me to cast your replays, please send me a replay at gdoggcasey SC2@gmail.com. I have no reason not to cast it unless you give me a reason not to cast it, and it's gonna take something pretty serious for that to even happen. So I kind of feel like a broken record, because when I cast these games, I do them one after the other. I find like a couple hours where I have some time to do some casts, and I just keep casting games after games, and I say that at the beginning of every single replay, and I feel like a bit of a broken record there, but that's okay. I want you guys to know, because it's going to be that one replay where I don't mention that someone has to comment on the video like, hey, how do I get you to cast my replay? So I'm just trying to say it at the start of every one of these. So overall, things are going to eventually even out here. I think we got, we have the earlier gas coming out of DrAGoOn here, and he's actually dropping a very early evolution chamber. Something worth mentioning, ZVZ is absolutely my worst matchup as a Zerg player, so I'm really looking forward to casting these ZVZ games so I can try to learn a little bit about what's going on. Chimaera is going to be sending out these Zerglings so that he can get a scout off, and if he can scout this evolution chamber, he might get an idea of what's coming. I've seen these evolution chambers before in pro games, and a lot of times players will get like a +1 armor. This is actually +1 attack though for the Zerglings. So if this upgrade is able to finish, then DrAGoOn's Zerglings are going to be much, much stronger than Chimaera's, and that can pose quite a problem for him. So we'll see what Chimaera does in order to get around that. Getting this Baneling nest, and I was mentioning that I've noticed that some players go for, you know, that +1 armor on the lings instead of the attack, and that's basically because now it takes 2 Banelings to kill 1 Zergling instead of just 1, which really it really changes the dynamic of a Ling Bane type of attack here. But I'm not sure if this is right, but I suppose with this Baneling Nest from DrAGoOn, having +1 attack, having +1 attack, I don't know exactly how much it's really going to help the Banelings. Maybe it'll help with the splash damage, I really don't know. We'll have to take a look here, but for now, both players are okay with just macroing up here. Chimaera's got to be careful not to lose this Overlord. I think he might be able to get away, but I don't know. That Queen put herself in a pretty good position to start off this, you know, quote-unquote engagement. And actually, this Overlord's going to go... Oh, it's so close. The Queen can't reach it. Very lucky Overlord there. He's counting his lucky stars as he does get away. Now, Chimaera's going to have the earlier Zergling speed, but these +1, this +1 attack is going to finish soon, so I'm expecting to see a lot of Lings pumping out here for DrAGoOn. Kind of a strange play to get +1 attack and then just sit on it for a while, as we do have an evolution chamber going down here for Chimaera, and I love the positioning of it here because it's going to make busting up this ramp incredibly hard, and that means he can move his Spinecrawler up a little bit as well. and just focus on kind of getting his overlords and maybe even making a few more drones. The drone count right now is incredibly even. But actually, Chimaera pumping out 22 lings here just as Zergling speed is finished. Looks like he's gearing up for an attack here, as DrAGoOn also pumping out his own lings that are now +1 attack and going for the lair. Another Chimaera overlord going down in the middle of the map here. That really hurts. Supply blocking him once again. This is really going to help DrAGoOn set himself up for this attack here that he's trying to do, as these lings are running across the map now. Also, by the way, probably not scouted from Chimaera as well. I don't think he knows this is coming because that overlord died, but he is keeping his lings back at home for defense, and it seems like getting +1 missile attack means, yeah, the Roach Warren's going to be coming down here. And this time is always a scary time for the Zerg player while he tries to transition into a different unit type. Even if it's just roaches, it's gonna take him some time before he can get those out. And in come the speedlings with +1 attack. Chimaera barely gets back into position here with his queens. There's so many lings. The banelings are going to be very helpful against this attack. Huge hits going off over here. That was ginormous. And actually, that's all it took here. See, if these lings had +1 armor, I think that might have been a different engagement, but very, very nice defense here. Those 4 banelings getting ginormous hits right here, killing so many Zerglings and being so cost efficient. Now the +1 armor is halfway done, and DrAGoOn is pumping out even more lings, and he's moving into an extra gas geyser here, so I wonder if he's going to go into like a full heavy Zergling baneling attack here. But the Roach Warren is now done for Chimaera, and his lair is starting. And actually the lair is finished now for DrAGoOn, so I wonder why he got the lair. I don't see, a Hydra Den, I don't see a Spire, which usually you'd see a Spire in this position, but we don't see any of that yet, as another Zergling attack is streaming across the map here. But this time, again, banelings are in position here. This Roach Warren is a little bit vulnerable, but the Spine Crawler is in such a good spot here that even with +1 attack, the amount of lings that are here is just way too much. But now the banelings are coming up here for DrAGoOn, going to try to get around this defensive wall. So far, there's a pretty nice hit from DrAGoOn, but a lot of these banelings going down. There we go, nice hits on the drones here, but Chimaera still has his Zergling count. Let's take a look how many lings went down. Only 5 actually, which 5 is still a decent amount, but now that these roaches are out here, it's going to be incredibly hard, even with +1/+1 on these lings, to defend against these roaches. Roach speed coming through as well, but we do see the Spire going down, and the extra gases here for DrAGoOn. He's going to look into transitioning into mutas. Now that takes quite a while. These lings are doomed here, getting murdered by the 1/1 lings of DrAGoOn. That's just never going to work. And actually, these roaches got to be really careful not to get surrounded. But with an overlord in position here, DrAGoOn knows that that would be a little bit of an over-ambitious attack here. So he's going to go ahead back to the watchtower. And I wonder which player is going to try to take a third base soon. I think that with the Spire halfway done, and the aggressive sort of posture he's put on all game, it would mean that he would probably have a better chance of taking a third sooner. But as I say that, Chimaera moving across the map with his roaches, and DrAGoOn setting up a nice flank here. There are a couple banelings though. He's got to be careful. But see, with +1 armor, you die, or so many less lings die from that attack. And Chimaera getting his roaches surrounded here by +1/+1 lings. They are all going to go down. And in the end, that turns into a gigantic roach donation to his opponent. Roach speed wasn't finished yet. +1 attack was done, but just wasn't enough. And now DrAGoOn can put on that pressure once again as he tries to check for a third base and just sort of keep Chimaera at home with these really strong Zerglings. And there we have it. He sees now that he has an option to take a third base now that he is back on the aggressive position. Whoa, see that? That happens only when I'm casting, I swear to God. But more roaches from Chimaera getting caught out here. And the more time Chimaera spends at home defending with roaches, the more time his opponent gets to build up a muta count. Now that was scouted though from Chimaera. The Overseer comes in. We can take a look at Chimaera's vision. He did spot the Spire. So we see Spore Crawlers going down in defensive positions for Chimaera, and he knows that he's on a little bit of a timer here, so he's moving out with these roaches, trying to force DrAGoOn back, and making some extra queens is a really good idea. Queens are incredibly good defensive units, even against mutas. But man, this is going to be really tough for Chimaera. These mutas are on their way out now, getting +1 attack as well. Roaches getting surrounded again by +1 lings, and I think all these roaches are going to go down maybe, but I don't know. The queens actually have +1 attack on these guys, so they are helping defend against these lings. That's something that a lot of people don't always remember, is your missile attacks actually help your queens out as well. So not only does that help in defending against the mutas that are inevitably coming soon. Third base, by the way, going down for Chimaera. This is going to be sort of like the focal point of the game now, because Chimaera needs to defend this. If he cannot defend this base, he's just going to fall so far behind, and that's pretty much going to be the end of the game, I think. But with this many soon to have +2 attack on these queens, it actually might not be as difficult as I imagined at first. But here we go. The Zerglings and the mutas are coming in. Muta's about to have +1 attack as well. Trying to find a good opening here. And here we go, Roaches and Queens defending against this, and actually that's going to force DrAGoOn back pretty quickly. And there you have it. So the Queens and Roaches doing a pretty good job here. The third base is just about up here for Chimaera, and we're going to see who decides to make some drones first. There's a handful of drones over here at DrAGoOn's third base. But here come the mutas. They spot the third, they know it's up, and now they know, okay, that's basically going to be our target. But actually, DrAGoOn just sort of backs off a little bit. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. I mean, he feels like he can't really break this, and I kind of see where he's coming from, because this many queens and roaches is kind of like it's a pretty good composition against what's coming at him. And now DrAGoOn's own Roach Warren going down. In some cases, in most cases, I would really like that position as some, or that decision as some Overlords are going down to these mutas. But I think because Chimaera had never really transitioned away from his Roach Warren, which is under threat right now from these mutas. Lots of Overlords going down now. Now the mutas are having a chance to be really annoying here. They're going to try to pick off some queens, but transfuses are pretty good here. And a lot of mutas are getting really low on health. One queen goes down, two queens go down, a third queen being transfused like crazy and trying so hard to defend against this, but she goes down, then another queen, and now there's just no queens left. There's two queens here that are going to try to defend, but these mutas are going to be way too strong, and they're going to take that out. So Chimaera decides to just move across the map with his roaches, well, taking a lot of damage back at home, but actually forcing the mutas all the way back here, and this could be a key decision made by Chimaera. Now, with DrAGoOn trying to force the roach production here, I was trying to say before that I don't think that's going to work this time, because Chimaera never switched off of roaches, which sometimes the mutas make you do. And here comes Chimaera trying to bust up the ramp with roach speed, getting on top of these defensive roaches here, taking a decent amount of damage from these mutas, and he's going to try to break up into the natural. And there's a lot of roaches here. I don't know if DrAGoOn is going to be able to defend this with roaches. I think he should be making more mutalisks to help defend against this. The natural looks like it's going to go down here. I think there's a transfuse on it, but yeah, down goes the natural. Drones are being pulled off the mineral line, and some of them are going to be going down here as we keep an eye on the worker kill count. It looks like just 5. And finally, DrAGoOn manages to defend against that, but in the meantime, Chimaera's just been making tons and tons of roaches of his own. He's getting pathogen glands here for infestors, so he's going to be going into that infestor style of play. He's got a lot of gas here, so I don't blame him for that. That's going to be pretty good against the mutalisks if DrAGoOn gives him enough time. DrAGoOn is ahead in the worker count, but he's currently down in bases, but somehow still mining a lot more than his opponent. I guess because this base is not fully saturated yet. Not really sure exactly how that's working out there. It looks like it's evening out a little bit, but overall, losing that hatchery and only 5 drones really wasn't that much of a hit to DrAGoOn as you would expect, because he's already bouncing right back up. Supplies are absolutely identical right now at 125 each, and once this base comes back up, the drones are going to start mining more efficiently for DrAGoOn, and things are really going to even up. But Chimaera getting some drones over on his third base, pumping out 6 infestors here, going to be really helpful against the mutas, and the roaches too. I mean, infestors are pretty good against roaches as well, and it looks like both players are just happy to macro up a little bit and give each other some time to get what they want going. And at this point, I mean, it really could be anyone's game. We do have a supply lead for DrAGoOn, but these infestors are incredibly cost-efficient units, and they can even up that supply nice and quick. And it looks like DrAGoOn is thinking about moving out here. He's got a nice supply of roaches, but they only have +1 attack. Taking a look at the upgrades here, +2/+1 for Chimaera is going to make his roaches just a little bit stronger. and he's got the defender's advantage, and he's got Infestors, a huge fungal going down on the center roaches here, and Chimaera just pounces, continuing to fungal. He's even got some mutas in this as well, and he is getting such a good engagement here. His roaches are easily going to win this fight and force DrAGoOn back. At least I think. It looks like DrAGoOn thinks he's winning by stepping forward, but no, that is not going to happen. All of the blue roaches going down, as well as the Mutalisks too. There's not one Mutalisk left on the field here. That fungal growth from Chimaera was just beautiful, catching every important unit in that engagement and forcing DrAGoOn running back home with his tail between his legs here. And this is going to be a moment here where Chimaera decides, can he win, or should he just fall back and macro up a little bit more, maybe take up 4th base? Looks like he's going to go for it. He doesn't want to overextend too much. This is something that DrAGoOn can defend. Once the Infestors get here, though, with the reinforcing roaches, as both players are just in 100% roach production now, this could be pretty scary here. Chimaera's got about a 20 supply advantage, and he's going to get a little bit of a bad position here, but the Infestors are here. Fungals are going to start going down. This pack of roaches gets entirely fungal, this one as well, and DrAGoOn just leaves the game. Wow. So Chimaera coming out on top in this ZVZ, going up against a Master Zerg player, looking like a master himself, I gotta say, with the wonderful decision making to go for the Infestors, and just those money fungals, which may have been a little bit of a misplay on DrAGoOn's side as opposed to like an amazing play by Chimaera, because he had his mutas bunched right on top of his roaches, so he basically just said, here, fungal me right here. And Chimaera's like, yeah, okay. And he fungals them, and he kills all the mutas and defends beautifully, and then moves across the map with the counterattack. Yeah, I mean, things just did not look good. I think there may have been a little bit of a chance here for DrAGoOn to defend this, possibly, but who knows. 4th base going down for Chimaera as well. Just overall, really nice game. I don't know about DrAGoOn's like initial Zergling attack. I think if he would have got the armor, things might have looked a little bit better for, for that initial Zergling attack that he did. But who knows? I mean, I barely know what I'm talking about when I'm casting ZVZ anyway. Well, guys, thank you very much for watching. As always, if you want me to cast one of your replays, send it to me at gdoggcasey at SC2. I always say that, gdoggcasey SC2 at gmail.com, and I'll be happy to cast it for you. Again, thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next video.